One of the best parts of this job is going to be, I can't wait till the debate. So, look, I've done this enough, and I know bullies, and I'm not a name caller, but what I am as a teacher, I observe things. So I want to tell you, what I observed and you've observed about these guys when you see them, that it's a very clear thing. Yes, they are creepy and weird as hell. You see it. You see it. This is not normal. This is not normal behavior. Nobody's asking for this crazy.
Governor Tim Walz, the same guy who pushed for tampons in boys' bathrooms, just called someone else creepy and weird. The nerve. And you know things have gone completely off the rails when even CNN's Jake Tapper has to call him out for his low-blow attacks on J.D. Vance. This isn't just a political disagreement, it's a full-blown smear campaign. But guess what? J.D. Vance isn't backing down. In fact, he just fired back with a scorching takedown of Walz and his phony tough guy act, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So here's the deal. Instead of debating real policies, Walz decided to take a cheap shot at Vance, referencing a bizarre and baseless online smear. Even Jake Tapper, who rarely calls out Democrats, couldn't stomach it. During an interview, Tapper hesitated to even mention the disgusting rumor, but pointed out that Walz had used it in his introduction speech. The governor actually said, "I can't wait to debate the guy if he's willing to get off the couch and show up." Seriously? A sitting governor pushing a trashy, unfounded rumor just to score political points? What happened to, when they go low, we go high? Apparently that got tossed out the window a long time ago. This isn't just childish, it's downright embarrassing for someone who claims to be a leader.
He made this interesting comment that the Kamala Harris campaign put out there, and I bet they're regretting they put it out there now, because he said that and he was making a point about gun control, he said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not. And if he wants to criticize me for getting an Ivy League education, I'm proud of the fact that my mamaw supported me, that I was able to make something of myself. I'd be ashamed if I was him and I lied about my military service like he did.
But here's where it really gets interesting. J.D. Vance isn't just another politician. He's a U.S. Marine who actually served his country. So when he saw Tim Walz trying to discredit him, he didn't hold back. Check this out. What really bothers me about Tim Walz isn't just his far-left radical positions, though those are bad enough. No, what really gets me is his history of dishonesty about his military service. And it gets worse. J.D. Vance exposed Walz for abandoning his unit right before they were deployed to Iraq. When the United States of America asked me to go to Iraq and serve my country, I did it. I honored my commitment. But when Tim Walz was asked to do the same, he dropped out of the army, left his unit behind, and let them go without him. Wow. That's not just dishonest, it's downright disgraceful. The same guy lecturing J.D. Vance about showing up literally bailed on his own unit when it was his turn to step up. Let that sink in.
Smear about J.D. Vance involving couches, okay? And the only reason I cite it is because Governor Walz made a reference to it during his introduction speech yesterday.
And I got to tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So.
A clear reference to this gross smear. So, I mean, whatever happened to Michelle Obama's when they go low, we go higher?
I think Democrats have abandoned that a long time ago. Look, I get it. Politics is a brutal sport. This is like a boxing match. And we're trying to see if we can get the knockout first. And they're trying to do the same. And let's see what happens in November, Jake. But I'm not surprised by it.
What do you think?
I love Michelle Obama, but she's not in this race. They're running against Donald J.
JD wasn't done exposing Walz's phony hero act. He dropped this bombshell. Tim Walz once said, "We shouldn't allow weapons I used in war to be on America's streets." And JD's response, "What war, Tim? When did you ever go to war? What weapon are you talking about? Since you abandoned your unit before deployment, you haven't spent a single day in a combat zone." That's when the room went silent. Because the truth hurts. Tim Walz pretended to be a brave military leader while skipping out on his actual duty, yet he wants to attack J.D. Vance? Yeah, not happening.
Look, what really bothers me about Tim Walz, it's not even the positions that he's taken, though certainly he has been a far left radical. You know what really bothers me about Tim Walz as a Marine who served his country in uniform? When the United States Marine Corps, when the United States of America asked me to go to Iraq to serve my country, I did it. I did what they asked me to do it, and I did it honorably, and I'm very proud of that service. When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him, a fact that he's been criticized for aggressively by a lot of the people that he served with. I think it's shameful to prepare your unit to go to Iraq, to make a promise that you're going to follow through, and then to drop out right before you actually have to go. I also think it's dishonest. Something, again, if you guys ever get an opportunity to ask Tim Walz or Kamala Harris some questions.
And here's where it gets even crazier. Despite all the evidence exposing Walz's credibility issues, the mainstream media is still covering for him. Why? Because to them, it's not about truth, it's about power. They prop up those who push their narrative and tear down anyone who dares to think for themselves. J.D. Vance is a threat because he refuses to fall in line, so instead of debating his ideas, they resort to ridiculous smears. And Tim Walz? He's just their puppet. But here's the thing, the people are waking up. The old tricks don't work anymore, and voters aren't falling for this nonsense. At the end of the day, this isn't just about J.D. Vance versus Tim Walz, it's about integrity versus deception. It's about leaders who actually serve versus career politicians who just want power. J.D. Vance put his life on the line for this country. Tim Walz, he walked away from his duty and then lied about it. Now he's pushing disgusting smears to cover up his own failures. Typical. Now I want to hear from you. Did Tim Walz go too far with his shady attacks? Should the media be called out for protecting politicians like him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get this discussion going. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more real talk without the media spin. Did you subscribe? Awesome. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp, stay informed, and if you thought this was wild, wait until you see how Tomi Lahren just destroyed The View. Click here. You won't want to miss it.